Alright, number 1, the degree is the largest exponent. Oh, actually, I got ahead of myself. I should have looked at the whole thing. We actually have two variables on number 1. We have an x and we have a y. So it is not a polynomial in one variable. It is a polynomial, but not in one variable. Because of x and y. And because that's true, I don't have to answer the degree on the leading coefficient. We just don't respond to that one. Number 2, check all my variables. Okay, it is good. So then the degree, oops, forgot my r. Degree is the largest exponent. That's a 6. The leading coefficient is the coefficient on that term. The one that had the degree of 6 has a coefficient of negative 12. That's the leading coefficient. Now with number 3, let's find p of negative 6. Plugging negative 6 in. So I've got negative 6 to the 4th. Let's see, negative 6 to the 4th, that's a pretty big number. It is going to be positive. It's 1296. Then we have minus 2 times negative 6 squared. That's a positive 36. Make sure you don't multiply before you use the exponent. So negative 2 times 36, that's negative 72. And then at that point, I'm just going to type that in the calculator. 1296 minus 72 plus 3. We get an answer of 1,227. And then I also need to find p of 3. So 3 to the 4th minus 2 times 3 to the 2nd plus 3. 3 to the 4th, that's 81. Minus 2 times 9 plus 3. So that's 81 minus 18 plus 3. So 81 minus 18 plus 3 is 66. Number 4, p of negative 6, and negative 3 times negative 6 cubed, minus 2 times negative 6 squared, plus 4 times negative 6, minus 6. Negative 6 cubed is negative 216. Negative 6 squared is 36. Negative 3 times negative 216 is 648. Minus 72. Minus 24. Minus 6. So 648 minus 72 minus 24 minus 6. We get 546. And then we do p of 3. Negative 3 times 27 minus 2 times 9 plus 4 times 3 minus 6. Negative 81 minus 18 plus 12 minus 6 is negative 93. Now describe end behavior. So I'll talk about the right side, the right end, and the left end. Right end is up, the left end is up. So even or odd, since they're both the same direction, that tells me it'll be even. Number of real zeros, how many x-intercepts? 1, 2, 3, 4. Number 6, same questions. Right side is down. Left side is up. So that tells me then that it's odd. And then real zeros, looks like we just have 1. 7. Here we've got a graph, so let's pull out the graphing calculator. We're going to have x to the third plus 3x squared. We'll graph that. Okay, it does look like a third degree, so I don't need to zoom in or out. That's probably sufficient. Real zeros. That's the first question. Where does it touch the x-axis? Here and here. Looks like there's 2 spots. So I'm going to go to the calc. Second calc. Choose the 0 option. I'm going to start at the one on the left. It wants me to move beyond it to the left. So somewhere in there is sufficient. Then come back to the right of it. Choose it. Notice your 2 blue lines. Your x-intercept should be between them. If it's not, you're going to have a problem. It is. Come back and do your best guess, and it will tell me it's -3. And then there's another one over here, so I'm going to check that one also. Second calc 0. Left bound, so get a little closer to it. Somewhere in there is sufficient. Then move to the right of it. Oops. That's good enough. Come back to the middle. And it will tell me, oh, I didn't hit it. Oh, no sign change. Okay, we had a problem. Not sure what happened. Let's try it again. Second calc 0. Left bound. Okay. Right bound. I guess. Let's try that. 0 is x equals 0. Okay, I'm not sure what happened the time before, but we got it now. Part B is talking about the relative maximums, relative minimums. Looks like we have a maximum over here, so I'm going to go back, check that. So I'm choosing maximum. Need to move to the left of the max. Max is at the top of a hill, so right here, about where my cursor is, that's about the maximum, so I move to the left of it. Hit enter, move to the right of it. Make sure you don't go too far right that you go past the next turning point. So I wouldn't go all the way down to like the 0. Somewhere in between, about where I'm at is fine. Your best guess. So -2 point, and it gives 0, 0, 0, 0, 1. We'll call that -2. And let's go ahead and state that that was a relative max. I may even just say max. Then, let's go for a minimum. So move to the left of the minimum, about there. Move past it to the right. There's fine. Come back and guess. And a minimum, notice it gives me something, I don't know how well you can see this. This is actually talking about scientific notation. The way the calculator does scientific notation is it uses a capital E followed by a number. So this is saying 1.463 e to the -6. So e to the -6 would mean times 10 to the -6, which means the decimal is way back here, several zeros, not that many, but several zeros, so it's essentially 0. They do some, different calculations every once in a while. They're a little bit off, but we can interpret this as a 0. That's where that's where the minimum is. So 0, and that's a relative minimum. So I'm done with number 7, so number 8. Okay, so we've got x to the third plus 4x squared minus 5x. Let's graph that. I see that my graph went up higher than what I'm at. I think my graph is going to a positive 10, but I clearly need to go up higher. That's the y value. The x value left, right probably doesn't need to change. The y minimum doesn't even need to change. I just need to go up higher than 10. So I'm going to choose to go to my window. I think that's going to be the best way to get a nice picture. Window. I don't want to change the x's. I don't need to change the y minimum, just the y maximum. I don't know. I'm going to try like 30. And for my scale, so I don't have a whole bunch of little tick marks, I might say that they're going by like 5. Probably be sufficient. Let's go ahead and graph. Let's see how that looks. There, I got far enough. Okay, so now zeros, part A is looking for the zeros, the x-intercepts. I see 1, 2, and 3. Looks like there's 3 x-intercepts. So I go to 0. I'll just go to the one farthest left. Move to its left. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Nope, I got to start again. I hit a wrong button. 0, left bound, right bound. I guess it gives me -5. Okay, let's try it again for the next one. Choose the 0. Move a little closer to it. There. And then as I move to the right, don't go so far that I get past 2 of them. So I've got to stop in between the zeros, like right there at that minimum. Come back, and my 0 is 0. And then I have another one. Left bound, stay to the left of it. You don't have a lot of room to work with there on the left of it. Move to the right of it, and then come back and guess it. It tells me it's 1. So I have 3 of them. -5, 0, and 1 are all x-intercepts, are all real zeros. Now, relative minima and maxima. Up here I've got a maximum, here I've got a minimum. Let's go to this maximum. Just work my way left to right. So it's a maximum, choose 4. So move to the left of the maximum. Then come back to the right of the maximum. Oops, I hit too quickly. Sorry, I keep making little mistakes. Let's try this again. Left bound, right bound, hit, and I'll only push the button once instead of twice. Okay, so about -3.19, I'll call it, and that was a relative maxima. So now I've got a minima, it looks like. So left bound, move to the right of the bottom, and go to the bottom. So about 0.52, and this one's a relative minima. Okay, now 9 to 10, we've got a few questions to answer. Number 9, estimate the x-coordinate of every turning point. Just the x value. So here's a turning point. Let's see, here's my 0, so at -1, -2, about -2.5. It says to state whether it's a relative maximum or minimum, so that's a minimum. And then my next turning point is up here, so about -0.5. This time it's a maximum. Next turning point is down here at about 1.5, and this is a minimum. That's all I have for turning points. Part B, estimate the x-coordinate of every 0, every x-intercept. So here's 1, here's 1, here's 1, here's 1. So estimate them. This first one, so -1, -2, -3, so about -3.8 perhaps. The next one is about right at -1. Next one looks like it's about right at 0. Next one is about 1, 2, 3.3 perhaps. Part C, determine the smallest possible degree. That's the number of turning points plus 1. So turning points, we answered that in part A. There were 3 of them. So add 1 to that. 3 plus 1 is 4. 4 is the smallest degree possible. Oh, sorry. Cut off my picture. So 4 is the smallest possible degree. Number 10. Turning points, maximums and minimums. So travel left to right. All of a sudden I get to one up here. So that x value is about -1, -2. And that is a maxima. Travel down. The next one is down here. It looks like that's at about +1. That is a minimum. Continue traveling to the right to here. That's about 2.3 perhaps. And that one's a relative maxima. And that's the last of my turning points. So B, zeros. Got one here that's about -1, -2, -3.6, perhaps. Next one is right here at about -0.5, and then that's all we have for real zeros for x-intercepts. So then for part C, smallest possible degree, there were 1, 2, 3 turning points, so 3 plus 1 is 4. So it's at least a degree of 4.